There's nothing more shameful in the world of rock music than getting caught lip-syncing. Yet even some of the biggest bands in the genre have resorted to faking their performances. Like when several Kiss fans posted videos of the group's 2022 Belgium show that seemingly uncovered their use of pre-recorded tracks. During the band's opening number, Detroit Rock City, drummer Eric Singer accidentally transitioned into the song's breakdown one measure late, leading to lead singer Paul Stanley's vocal track being out of sync with the band's actual performance. As a result, confusion ensued, not only among the band, but also the production team, who proceeded to ignite the onstage pyro prematurely. Seemingly realizing the error, Stanley turned away from the microphone to give his bandmates a concerned look. Little did he know that his subsequent vocal lines would still be audible through the speakers, even though he wasn't at the microphone. The year would prove to be disappointing for Kiss fans, as bassist Gene Simmons was also caught blatantly lip-syncing during a performance in Argentina. Despite his previous criticism of bands who faked their performances, Simmons was clearly miming along to a track. This was especially evident when he moved away from the microphone while his voice could still be heard sustaining a note. And it's not only their vocals that they fake, but also some of their instruments. Just take a look at this clip of Eric Singer performing the song Beth. You'll notice that he completely forgets to mime along on the piano. On the other hand, Motley Crue found themselves formally accused of lip-syncing in a court of law when one of their founding members filed a controversial lawsuit against them. It all happened in April of 2023, when Crue guitarist Mick Mars sued the band for allegedly forcing him out and ripping him off financially, even referencing a video where Six was seen fist-pumping in the air with his strumming hand while the bass parts continued to play. Mars went on to assert that a significant portion of frontman Vince Neil's vocals were also pre-recorded, which isn't hard to believe when you take into account the following clip. But perhaps the most incriminating evidence against Motley Crue stemmed from the band's 2022 Kansas City show. But first, let's talk about the sponsor of today's video, Temu. Temu is a shopping app where you can get crazy good deals on high-quality goods, like the beautiful instruments you see here. Or if you're more of a lip-syncing band, they also sell inflatable instruments too. Temu sells just about anything else you may want, often with insane deals up to a staggering 90% off. They've got bandanas, necklaces, alarm clocks with wireless charging, crazy cool Tesla coil speakers, and awesome posters too. And if your order doesn't arrive on time, they'll even pay you, with Temu granting a $5 credit for late delivery. Just check out this beautiful acoustic guitar they sent us. Made out of durable basswood with a maple neck and featuring a sleek matte black finish, it looks good and sounds even better. But you don't only have to take my word for it, just look at all the 5-star reviews it has. This ukulele they sent over is just as amazing, as is this practice drum pad. You can shop all the items we think you'll love and save today by downloading the Temu app through the link in the description below. You'll even get 30% off your first order, or search code DKN3994 on the app to claim this special offer. Thank you Temu for sponsoring this video. Now back to Motley Crue. During the band's 2022 stadium tour, drummer Tommy Lee was caught on video as he walked towards his drum set while the cymbals could be heard over the speakers. In other words, the drums were playing despite there being no one there to play them. But at least Motley Crue remembered to plug in their instruments before miming their performance, unlike the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Immediately after hitting the stage at Super Bowl 48, fans noticed something rather strange about the performance. Not a single one of their instruments were plugged in. After the online backlash proved to be too much to ignore, Chili Peppers bassist Flea would finally respond to the matter via an open letter, revealing the NFL's strict policy that all instruments had to be pre-recorded. "I understand the NFL's stance on this," wrote Flea. "Given that they only have a few minutes to set up the stage, there's a zillion things that could go wrong and ruin the sound for folks watching in the stadium and the TV viewers. There was not any room for argument on this. The NFL does not want to risk their show being botched by bad sound. Period." The bassist went on to explain that, although RHCP has a history of refusing to fake their performances, the group could simply not pass up this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, with the show ultimately going down in history, shattering records by garnering 115.3 million viewers. Thankfully for this next band, their televised lip-sync fail was witnessed by a much smaller audience, as Bon Jovi's performance on Spain's Antenna 3 was nothing short of embarrassing. But perhaps the most cringe-inducing lip-syncing incident of all time goes to Portuguese band Squeeze These Please, whose use of backing tracks was exposed in a spectacularly humiliating fashion. American shock rockers Wasp utilized lip-syncing to a less obvious degree, but after years of fan speculation, their fake vocals were made obvious during a 2019 performance in Sweden, where frontman Blackie Lawless was caught on video as he forgot he was supposed to start singing his next lines. In the clip, the singer is clearly lost in thought, several feet away from his microphone. Yet despite this, his lead vocals suddenly erupt over the speakers. This proved to be a bad show for the band, as later on in that very performance, guitarist Doug Blair can be seen frantically rushing to his microphone, as he realizes he's not going to make it in time to start miming his backup vocals. Lawless would eventually nonchalantly admit to Wasp's use of backing tracks, shrugging off the gravity of his admission. But one person who would never excuse the use of backing tracks is radio personality Eddie Trunk, who would absolutely blast Finnish rock act Santa Cruz after a video exposing the group's lip-syncing went viral online. Trunk would say that the footage was beyond words, and called lip-syncing an epidemic in rock music, while Santa Cruz frontman Archie Cruz would defend himself by claiming the apparent blunder was all part of a cleverly orchestrated publicity stunt. Whatever the case may be, most of Trunk's followers were in complete agreement with him on this topic, though many would point out his hypocrisy in failing to call out his close friend and Fozzy frontman Chris Jericho, who had just admitted that his band uses pre-recorded tracks during their performances. While speaking to Detroit's WRIF radio station, Jericho would state that relying on pre-recorded audio in a live setting was, quote, just the way of the world right now, and assuring that using them doesn't make you any less of a band. It didn't take long after that for eagle-eyed fans to find many instances of Jericho clearly lip-syncing online. The ever-opinionated former Skid Row frontman Sebastian Bach would put Jericho on blast for faking his performances. But the most explosive feud of Bach's career came in 2022, when the singer got into a heated war of words with Falling in Reverse's Ronnie Radke. It all started when Falling in Reverse canceled a festival appearance at the last minute due to the fact that they had lost their laptops. Radke would post a video to his social media justifying the cancellation, saying, as a band in 2022, you need your laptops. It's like driving a car without an engine. Both Bach and Eddie Trunk would come after Radke, with Bach stating that real concerts don't need laptops. Radke would fire back by pointing out that Bach had a clear double standard, as Bach's shows technically use laptops to play their walk-on music when they come on stage. After the two argued on Twitter for several hours, Bach eventually challenged Radke to a fist fight, and while the brawl never materialized, Radke would later poke fun at the controversy during his band's set at that year's Aftershock festival.
The laptops are down? Oh, we can't play it? Oh, you know what we're gonna have to do, right? Tyler, hit it. They don't have tracks.
Which brings to mind Iron Maiden's legendary appearance on German TV show Pit, which saw the band ridiculing the show's requests to have them mime their performance. The group did not take their performance seriously at all, as right from the start, bassist Steve Harris decided to pretend to play guitar, with guitarist Dave Murray donning Harris's bass. The bandmates would go on to swap instruments mid-song several times, clearly and joyously revealing the fact that they were forced to lip sync at the show's expense. But when it comes to mocking phony televised performances, no one did it better than Nirvana during their appearance on England's Top of the Pops in 1991. This show had a habit of making its musical guests mime their way through songs, and while this format may have made sense to snobbish network executives, it certainly didn't sit well with the famously anti-establishment Nirvana. When the band was confronted with the show's miming rules, they were left dumbfounded. However, a compromise was reached as the producers agreed to let Kurt Cobain sing live, while the instrumental part of the song would be pre-recorded. And so, when Nirvana took the stage to perform Smells Like Teen Spirit, it was evident that something was amiss. Not a single one of the band members played their respective instruments correctly. Cobain would mechanically strum on his guitar, eventually even moving his hands away from it completely. Chris Novoselic flung his bass around his head and over his back, leaving no doubt that he wasn't playing at all. All the while, Dave Grohl purposely drummed out of sync with the song. Yet the highlight of the performance came when Cobain began to sing. The Nirvana frontman would maintain this unconventional singing style for the entirety of his performance, etching it forever into the annals of music history.